There's a serious problem in the flat earth community that needs to be addressed. Too many people are quick to accuse others of being controlled opposition or shills or frauds, not because they have evidence, but simply because they agree with someone's opinion or approach. This is destructive, it's divisive, and it contradicts the very foundation of what this community is supposed to be about. We claim to be about evidence-based community. We demand evidence for the globe model. We demand evidence for curvature. We demand evidence for gravity. But then we turn around and make accusations against our own community members with zero evidence. That's hypocrisy. Today, I want to talk about why this approach is wrong, what the standard should actually be, and how we can build a stronger, more credible community by focusing on evidence over emotion. So let's begin. Here's what I see happening constantly. Someone builds a following by producing good content, doing research, making videos that help people understand flat earth concepts. They put in the work, they share knowledge, they help others. Then, the moment they disagree with someone else's specific opinion, maybe about the sun's distance or the dome material or whether certain ancient texts support flat earth or if something was real or not, suddenly they're accused of being controlled opposition. Not because there's evidence of them being paid by NASA, not because they're caught lying or deliberately misleading people, not because they're pushing globe propaganda, but simply because they have a different opinion on a secondary detail. Let me give you a personal example. A guy named Flat Earth Dave has helped me significantly. Every time I've emailed him, he's responded. He's checked out my videos. He's posted my content to his channel. He's given me constructive feedback to help me improve the quality of my presentations. He's been supportive, encouraging, and genuinely helpful. Exactly what you'd want from someone in this community. But I've heard other people say negative things about him. Accusations, claims that he's controlled opposition or a gatekeeper. And when I ask, what's your evidence? There is none. Just disagreements about opinions. Just suspicions based on the fact that he has a large following. That's not evidence. That's paranoia. And it's destroying the community's credibility. Think about this from an outsider's perspective. Someone is curious about the flat earth. They start looking into it. They see the evidence we present, the surveys without curve corrections, the long distance visibility, the constant Polaris angle. They're intrigued. They want to learn more. Then they see the community tearing itself apart with baseless accusations. Everyone calling everyone else a shill. No unity, no standards, just infighting and paranoia. What do you think they're going to conclude? If flat earthers can't agree with each other and constantly accuse their own people without evidence, why should I trust anything they say? We lose credibility, not because our evidence is weak. Our evidence is strong, but because our community behavior undermines the message. This has to stop. So what should the standard be? Simple. Evidence-based accusations only. If you're gonna claim that someone is controlled opposition, a shill, a fraud, or a gatekeeper, you need to provide evidence for that claim. Not suspicions, not feelings, not they have a lot of followers so they must be compromised, not they disagree with me about the dome so they must be working for NASA. Actual evidence. What would evidence look like? Documented payments from NASA or government agencies, provable lies, not honest mistakes, but deliberate deception caught on record. Tough to find, but also coordinated efforts to mislead the community in specific demonstrable ways. Consistent patterns of steering people away from strong evidence towards weak arguments. Admission of being paid to disrupt or discredit the movement. That is evidence. They don't agree with my interpretation of the Bible is not evidence. They think the sun is 3,000 miles away instead of 5,000 is not evidence. They have too many subscribers is not evidence. I just have a bad feeling about them is not evidence. The principle is the burden of proof is on the accuser. If you claim someone is controlled opposition, then you must provide the evidence to support the claim. You don't get to make destructive accusations and then demand the accused person prove they're innocent. That's not how evidence works. That's not how logic works. That's not how justice works. We apply the standard to this globe model. We say, you claim Earth is a sphere. Prove it. Show us the curve. Show us the measurements. Show us the evidence. We must apply the same standard to our own community. If you claim someone is a shill, prove it. Show the payments. Show the coordination. Show the deliberate deception. Can't provide evidence? Then don't make the accusation. It's that simple. Let me be very clear about something. Disagreement is not evidence of controlled opposition. You're not going to agree with every single person in this community about every single detail. That's normal. That's healthy. That's how knowledge progresses. We all agree on the core observation. Earth is not a spinning ball. We can prove this through direct observations, no curve in surveys, long distance visibility, contradicting curvature calculations, constant Polaris angle contradiction to axial tilt. But beyond that core agreement, there are a lot of secondary questions we're still working through. How high is the sun? Estimate between 3,000 and 5,000 miles. Is the sun even physical? What is the dome made of? Is there even a solid dome or just an electromagnetic boundary? How does the electromagnetic field work? What creates the sun's plasma? What do ancient texts tell us? How do we interpret Genesis, Enoch, Revelation? What's beyond Antarctica? Is there more land? Other realms? These are open questions. Good people can disagree about them while still being genuine truth seekers. Flat Earth Dave might think the sun is at one height. You might think it's at a different height. Someone else might not think the sun is physical. That doesn't make one of you controlled opposition. It means you're both working with limited data and making your best assessments. Someone might emphasize biblical evidence while you emphasize electromagnetic cosmology. That doesn't make them a fraud. It just means that they have a different framework for understanding the same reality. The point is, there are no rules saying you have to agree with everybody about everything. This isn't a cult where everything must be decided by everybody identically. This is a research community where we're collectively trying to understand the reality by examining evidence. Disagreement is part of that process. Debate is part of that process. Testing different models is part of that process. What's not part of that process is baselessly accusing anyone who disagrees with you of being a paid agent. If someone presents weak arguments, address the arguments. Show why the evidence doesn't support their conclusion. That's productive. If someone interprets the Bible differently than you, discuss the interpretation. Compare translations. Look at original Hebrew or Greek. That's productive. But don't jump to their controlled opposition. That's not productive. That's destructive, actually. One of the most common accusations I hear is, they have too many followers. They must be controlled opposition. Real truth tellers get suppressed. This is fallacious reasoning. Yes, platforms like YouTube suppress content. Yes, algorithms can be manipulated. Yes, some controlled opposition figures exist and are artificially promoted, but it does not follow that everyone with a large following is controlled opposition. Some people have large followings because they produce good content consistently. They explain concepts clearly. They're articulate. They engage with their audience. They've been doing it for years and build trust over time. They might have invested money into marketing. Flat Earth Dave didn't wake up yesterday with 100,000 subscribers handed to him by NASA. He built that audience through years of work, producing content, engaging with people, helping the community, and investing in himself. That's not evidence of being controlled. That's evidence of being effective. Now, could someone have a large following and be controlled opposition? Sure, it's possible. But you need to prove it with evidence, not just assume just because they're successful. The large following equals controlled opposition logic implies that small channels are automatically more trustworthy, but that's not true either. Truth is not determined by subscriber count, either high or low. Truth is determined by evidence. A person with 100 subscribers can be wrong. A person with 100,000 subscribers with their audience. They've been doing it for years and build trust over time. They might have invested money into marketing. Flat Earth Dave didn't wake up yesterday with 100,000 subscribers handed to him by NASA. He built that audience through years of work, producing content, engaging with people, helping the community, and investing in himself. That's not evidence of being controlled. That's evidence of being effective. Now, could someone have a large following and be controlled opposition? Sure, it's possible. But you need to prove it with evidence, not just assume just because they're successful. The large following equals controlled opposition logic implies that small channels are automatically more trustworthy, but that's not true either. Truth is not determined by subscriber count, either high or low. Truth is determined by evidence. A person with 100 subscribers can be wrong. A person with 100,000 subscribers can be right. It depends on the evidence they present, not their audience size. Judge the content, not the follower count. And I gotta share why this matters to me personally. When I started researching Flat Earth and creating content, I was figuring things out. My early videos weren't polished, my arguments weren't as refined as they are now. I was learning. When I reached out to Flat Earth Dave, he gave me feedback, encouraged me to keep going. He gave me ideas on how I can improve myself. He shared my content when I had no audience. He helped me improve. That kind of support is valuable. That's what a genuine community should look like. Experienced researchers helping newcomers, sharing knowledge, building each other up. Now imagine if I had listened to the people who told me, don't trust Dave, he's controlled opposition, without any evidence. I would have ignored someone who genuinely wanted to help me. I would have missed out on valuable feedback. I would have become more isolated and paranoid. That's what these baseless accusations do. They isolate people, create division, and prevent collaboration. I've also seen it happen to others. Good researchers get accused, become defensive, waste time responding to paranoid accusations instead of producing content. The community loses valuable contributors because they get tired of constant suspicion and infighting. This has to change. We need to build a culture where evidence is required for accusations. Disagreement is accepted as normal. People are judged by their content, not their follower count. Support and collaboration are valued over suspicion and division. Now, I'm not saying controlled opposition doesn't exist. It does, but real controlled opposition has specific characteristics. Strawman arguments. They present weak versions of flat earth arguments that are easy to debunk, while ignoring strong evidence. Misdirection. They focus attention on unprovable claims like ice wall has 500-foot monsters, while ignoring verifiable observations like surveys showing no curve. Division tactics. They deliberately create conflict between researchers to prevent unity and cooperation. Gatekeeping. They actively prevent certain topics from being discussed or certain researchers from being heard. Dishonesty. They're caught in provable lies or contradictions that reveal that they're not genuinely seeking truth. If you can document these patterns with specific examples, dates, quotes, and evidence, then you have a case for possible controlled opposition. But they disagree with me about the dome is not gatekeeping. They have a lot of subscribers is not misdirection. They interpret Enoch differently is not a strawman argument. Real controlled opposition leaves evidence trails. Baseless accusations don't. So what's the solution? First, adopt an evidence-based standard for accusations. Before you call someone controlled opposition, ask yourself, what evidence do I have? If the answer is none, just a feeling, or they disagreed with me, don't make the accusation. If you have actual evidence, payments, documented lies, provable coordination, present it clearly and let the community evaluate it. Second, accept disagreement as normal and healthy. Stop treating every difference of opinion as evidence of betrayal. We're all researching. We're all learning. We don't have all the answers yet. Disagreement drives us to refine our understanding. Third, judge content, not personalities. Focus on the evidence someone presents, not their subscriber count or speaking style or whether they interpret the Bible the same way you do. If their evidence is weak, address the evidence. If their logic is flawed, address the logic. That's productive criticism. Fourth, support genuine researchers. When someone produces good content, helps others, shares knowledge, acknowledge it. Thank them, share their work, build them up. We should want more good researchers in this community, not fewer. We make that mission easier. Choose wisely. And fifth, remember the bigger picture. We're trying to wake people up to the fact that they've been lied to about the fundamental nature of reality. That's a big mission. It requires unity, credibility, and focus. Every time we tear each other apart with baseless accusations, we make that mission harder. Every time we support each other and maintain high standards of evidence, we make it easier. In conclusion, this is supposed to be an evidence-based community. We demand evidence from globe defenders. We must demand evidence from ourselves. If you're going to accuse someone of being controlled opposition, bring evidence, real evidence, documented, verifiable, specific evidence. If you can't provide evidence, don't make the accusation. Disagreement is not betrayal. Different interpretations are not fraud. Large followings are not proof of compromise. We need higher standards. We need more unity. We need to focus on the evidence that matters, the evidence that proves Earth is not a spinning ball. Let's build a community based on truth, not paranoia, based on evidence, not emotion, based on collaboration, not division. And thank you to the people like Flat Earth Dave, Tomb of Illumination, Lindsay Harris, and others who have genuinely helped researchers like me and help build this community. That's what we need more of. And to everyone watching, before you accuse, ask yourself, what evidence do I actually have? If the answer is none, stay silent and focus on the real work, presenting evidence that wakes people up to the truth.